was quite some evening, quite some game. Did you like, at least, if we look at the positives first, the fight your team showed, the determination they showed?
Yeah, we already did that in the past games when we were losing. Difficult moments, but we disconnect in the beginning of second half. It was a tough moment for us, like 10 minutes. And then we return. I think we did a good job. I think we were, if you look at all the game, I think we were the best team, but they were more clinical. And we lose the game, but yes, the fight from the lads was really important for me.
Particularly first half, without making that last pass, did you feel like you had quite a good control of the match?
Yeah, you can see it and you feel it in the stadium. The team was comfortable. We were dominate the possession. I think it was not the last pass. I think it was the last shot, because in my mind, like Greece 2 times in the same position that they scored 2 goals. We couldn't score, so it can happen, but it's moved forward.
And was it that space in behind Pedro Porro with Bruno that you were looking for all the time?
No, it's a lot of things, but we know that this team plays with a high line, and when they switch side, they try to push us, and so we try to take advantage of that. I felt a little bit lack of physicality in that balls, because we had the position and we have to work on that. But overall, it was a good match, but there is no taste in that. So we didn't win. We need to focus on the next game.
You said disconnect at the start of the second half. Just expand on that, because I suppose in the end that's the section of the game that's cost you.
It's to start and they score a goal. And then in this type of games, we need to have a long possession in the next possession. And then we start losing the ball again. We start doing bad passes in build-up when the team is open, so we were a little bit nervous in that moment, but then we managed to recover. It's not easy, but was not enough.
You said beforehand it's not just about this competition, so what have you learned tonight?
Tonight I will think about that tomorrow. Tonight, don't feel nothing. There is nothing that I can say to you it's good. Tomorrow I will have a lot of things, because I saw the game, but tonight we lost, and then we have to take a night to think, and then tomorrow we'll have a lot of good things from this game.
But is there also a bigger picture? You said beforehand it's about the Premier League, and we've seen in the last couple of seasons you can't fix Manchester United by winning a cup.
No, I think that we cannot think in that way, like winning a silverware, so everything is okay. It will be a long way. We are improving as a team, and our goal, I say the same thing after the game and before the game, our goal is to win the Premier League. How long it's going to take, I don't know, but that is our goal.
Last question, if I may, on Marcus Rashford. You've left him out of the last 2 squads. He said he wants to leave. Is the best thing going to be a parting of ways in January?
Tomorrow we have training. Marcus Rashford will be there preparing the next game, and we will see the selection for next game.
So he still has a future if he wants it under you?
Of course. He's a Manchester United player. Everybody has a future in Manchester United.
A difficult result to take. How are you feeling?
Yeah, a bit disappointed. Losing is never fun, especially when it's another cup that you could potentially win. So it's disappointing, but I think we showed a great spirit as well. We just kept fighting, and I think we can be proud of ourselves for the fact that we never stopped. But yeah, it's disappointing.
You mentioned that spirit and fight, especially when you scored as well. You could see that energy around you that you were trying to spur on, not only just around you and the rest of the players, but the fans as well.
Yeah, I think it was good timing, in front of the fans as well. So, and then of course the goal from Ahmad also gave us a great boost. And yeah, that's just what we tried today when we came on. Just bring good energy into the pitch, and yeah. Sadly, we couldn't change it all around, but it's a good way to, keep improving.
There's positives to take there, as you said. You completely fought until the end. You never give up, and that is exactly what Ruben Amorim is telling you and the rest of the players to do consistently, and it really showed that today.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's good. Yeah, I mean, you need it in football. We just have to keep going, just that way. Yeah.
And finally, what have you and the rest of the players said? Obviously, it's a quick turnaround now, back in Premier League action at the weekend, back on home turf to Theatre of Dreams. What have you said to each other after that game?
Not much. I mean, we just got in, so. But I think we all know we just have to deliver. We always have to deliver, so we're just gonna come out Sunday and make sure we get 3 points.
Well, thank you very much.
Absolute gold when he said that.
You know what? That was a brilliant interview.
Wasn't it?
And we should all be desperate for Tottenham to win more games because they are, I said at the start of the show, the most entertaining team in the country. He comes across brilliantly from day one in terms of his interviews. His interview there just sums up how his team are and what we're probably critical of. And I think he got asked about being a tactician. He just said, so be it, mate, or, whatever. But that interview was brilliant. We were laughing all the way through it, enjoying it. Yeah, we enjoyed that. But
we did.
It was a brilliant game. But he's never going to change. And we want to see more of that, if you like, in terms of being entertained by Tottenham. But I'd still think if you're a Tottenham supporter, you'd be going home thinking, can we win something like that? Or can we will be entertained.
What do you think, if you've paid £100 for a seat here and you've gone home having beaten Manchester United 4-3 as opposed to 1-0, you've got an extra I think you've got an extra spring in your step heading home.
I'm not
Don't
sure.
you?
I think it was a one-off game, yeah. But I think Tottenham supporters are going home tonight thinking that could have been Chelsea, that could have been Brighton. It's the fact that this has happened before. It's not a one-off when you go, it's a great game. It happens too often.
And they've all aged 10 years as well. And that's the other factor. But I think we don't.
But football supporters, I know they want to win and they want to win trophies, but you also want to go on a journey with your team.
Yes, and they've seen
don't you?
Poor football here. They saw Antonio Conte trying to sort of do his thing in his way, and obviously Antonio's a genius, but he struggled here. Jose Mourinho struggled here. Nunes struggled here, and now they've got the complete, opposite of that. And it is a joy, and we like watching it. But I think our frustration comes from when he talks about this, what we're going to do and things like that. I totally get that. If you've got Romero and if you've got Van der Ven and you've got Udogie and you've got Porro as your back four regular, but when you're having to change that and a new goalkeeper, there has to come a time when you go.
Didn't make any sort of impact at all, even from the bench or the odd little game here for Liverpool. Went to Bournemouth, did well, and I looked at that and I thought, I'm not sure. But I think he's got 9 goals already this season. But it's not just about the goals, his hold-up plays, little touches around the corner, his pressing. And I think that was a big night for him tonight. You're coming up against Manchester United. I know he's got a great record against them, but to be that he looks like a top centre-forward now. I made up for him because the type of lad you look at him, you think,
nice lad, yeah.
Is he going to have the personality and the character? It wasn't so much the ability. Is he maybe a bit shy? But I think that was a really big night for him. And
he had a slightly slow start, didn't he? The first 2 or 3 games, he wasn't up and running, so he needed that first goal.
Yeah, and that's when I was watching him thinking, and sometimes we say things in this job, and you don't want to be proven right on something like that, because you look and you think, I hope that lad does well, because you worry if it might be a little bit too much for him. Made a bit of a slow start, but he's up and running now.
Speaking of slow starts, Manchester United made a slow start to that second half. Dejan Kulusevski winning player of the match, and he got the second.
Yeah, important start because you just felt. I mean, it almost feels it's such a long time ago.
Can you remember it?
But it was obviously it felt at the time like an important goal, and then 3-0 obviously felt important. But they started really well. They obviously had to make a change. Johnny Evans coming into centre back position. We saw Martinez do something very similar to this, probably worse actually last year, in the same end at the start of last season in a Premier League game. It's really poor defending. Carrie, you wanted to talk about
young Euro there, you've got to go with the overlap. That's one of the things about playing in the back five. You can't get done in a situation like that. But with a young defender, they're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. You have to stick with them. But
this is poor from Martinez. He had a really bad second half. You've got to do, whatever happens, you just can't just wave your left foot. You've got to do something. Last year he did something very similar where he right foot and he's put it into his. Sometimes that can affect you. What you've done before, and he seems to have real problems in that end for sure. But a good finish by Kulusevski. Maddison was, and at this stage, Tottenham in the ascendancy. They've got their tails up. The fullbacks are coming forward. And you go, what a joy they are to watch. Then they go 3-0, and you're thinking, now. We can calm. This is going to be calm for the next while. Will Spurs fans can sit there enjoying the game, but it never happens. It just doesn't happen when you watch this Tottenham side.
And this highlights, Jamie, doesn't it, what you were saying? He has a bit of everything. Just Solanke for this top.
Yeah, this is adding confidence now. I can take 2 defenders on. I'm going to put my foot right through it. You know, making the run, we'll know he'll make that run in behind. And we see Martinez was asking for actually offside. We know there's no VAR, but he wasn't offside. Martinez was playing him on. But I just love this now. He bided his time to get a shot away at the right time. And again, that comes back to the confidence he's showing. Sometimes a player with no confidence might snatch it early on his left foot. He's up against Manchester United defenders. It's like, I'm in charge. I'm in control of the situation. I was delighted.
Had the attributes. He's always, even at Chelsea as a young kid, I remember watching him in the youth team there. They were talking about him as going all the way and having a great career at Chelsea. Obviously, it didn't work out. Went to Liverpool in the end. Didn't quite work out. And that's the feeling, like Jamie says, can he handle the pressure of a big club like coming here? And he has been fantastic. And he's got that pace and power that's so hard to live with.
Just on the United back three, yeah, and you mentioned Euro there. So obviously he's learning his trade and playing in a back three and playing on the right. Lindelof goes off injured. Evans comes on. He's making a lot of changes in his back three. Eventually that needs to settle, doesn't it? Otherwise you're going to get errors.
Yeah, and when you mention a young centre-back, it's an unforgiving position like goalkeeper. We know that. So you look at young Euro, doesn't really follow in on the first goal, the overlap on the second goal. That's something he should read and something he should see. I think a little bit of a worry for Manchester United fans would be Martinez, because I was critical of him when he first came, because I didn't think he'd be able to play in a back four, to be too small. But he had a really good first season. Now, in some ways, you think he's actually perfectly suited to a back three. You know, he can step out with the left foot. He's got 2 bigger players alongside him. And even though he played a great ball through, didn't he, for the winner in the Manchester derby, I don't think he's looked as comfortable since Amorim came in, when I actually thought, this would be almost like the making of him, this will really suit him. So that's a little bit of a worry, because as Jamie just rightly said, he had a really poor night tonight.
Fraser Forster made a really good save about a minute before the ceiling caved in.
There's no doubt Fraser has made really good saves. Since Vicario has been injured, he has made a lot of these saves. And what they've done in other games, and I remember saying before the Chelsea game, I said it's really important today that what Tottenham Hotspur don't do is try to play out from the back. And he is a goalkeeper that is very good with his hand. With his feet, less so. So do not put pressure on him. Do not ask these kind of questions, because you're winning 3-0. Just get that ball up the pitch, clip it up to Solanke, work on the second ball, because that is so bad. But it's just not his strengths. What he's got to do there is, even if he plays it with his right foot, but why they're doing it, I have no idea. This is not his strengths. Do not play that ball to him. Archie, I think, has got to just don't give it to him in the first place. But then he plays that ball blind. Fernandes obviously presses, because it's not what you call a hot press either, is it, Carra?
No, I mean, this frustrates me. I mean, OK, the lad's made a mistake. Don't give somebody the ball. It's basic stuff that you'd know when you were a kid. So I know it's Archie Gray, but Basuma shouldn't be giving him the ball in the first place. Play forward. It doesn't mean long ball, but play forward with quality. You're giving a lad a ball again. And listen, it's awful by the goalkeeper. I mean, even if he's not great with his feet, he should still be able to deal with that. But when you're playing a game of football and someone's made a mistake, and he's made plenty as well over the 18 months he's been here, so I don't know if he's having a go at the goalkeeper or the fact they've given the ball back. But this goes back to my criticism of Tottenham under the manager after the Chelsea game. They never change how they play, no matter what the game state is. Now, I don't think football should be played the same all up from minute 1 to minute 90. And I'm just repeating myself. You know, when it's gone 3-1 and the stadium know, and you know what you've been through this season in terms of having leads, you don't give the ball back to a goalkeeper and make him nervous. Now, he makes another poor mistake, but it goes back to, I think, Ange Postecoglou tells them, no matter if it's in the first minute, the 90 minute, whether we're winning, whether we're losing or we're drawing, we play the same way. And that, for me, I can't have that. That is not right.
He's absolutely spot on. And I actually think about that one, and I think of Basuma. Because right then you've got to take the steam out of the situation.
Because he was on the ball for the free kick.
Right. There's a thing now, and it's not just in Premier League. I see it in academy football, where for some reason you pass the ball back to make the pitch big. Now, the goal's that way. Why pressure? The crowd are already edgy. They've seen them. They were 2-0 up against Brighton and lost 3-2. They were 2-0 up against Chelsea, lose, was it 4-2 in the end? Why are you even doing that? So I would say to Yves Bissouma, that's almost a bit of ill discipline. And tonight I thought he was very good. And he can at times play on the edge. But just by doing that, you are just say, let's all calm down and just put the ball up the other end of the pitch.
But what you're talking about, Jamie, in terms of academies, I think you're right. But what we've created now is robots on the pitch, where I'm actually looking down and thinking, OK, I put myself in, what would I do if I was playing? Now, I wasn't a great player in terms of technically or physically, but I understood the game. And some of the things that went on that pitch, I wouldn't have allowed to happen if I was in a Tottenham shirt. Now, what you've got is you've got a manager on the side of the pitch. It's his style of management. There's different ways of doing it. He doesn't give any instruction on. So I'm thinking, the manager's told you've got a certain way of playing that you've worked on since he come in. But someone has to get hold of that game and say, we're doing something different. Not be looking for instruction and not keep doing the same thing that the manager's told you to do. You have to say, no, we are changing for the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Just before we get on to the next bit of analysis, just let me ask you about that, because there was a couple of times in that second half, and the balls after they've gone either 3-1 or 3-2, and Fraser Forster has the ball, and half the team have come as if he's going to play it short, but they're sort of pointing for him to go long. But if he'd gone long, Solanke was isolated on his own. So is that what you're talking about? Because you get into your position, but then don't really understand the position.
No leadership on the pitch. So someone has to make a decision then, right? We either okay, we might be playing from the back, but you can't be one or the other. So then you end up knocking it long, and your team is like that. When basically for the next 10 or 15 minutes, your team needs to be like that, as compact as it possibly can be. The confidence has gone a little bit, so maybe the football won't be there. But you know what? We're going to be tough to play against for these next 10 or 15 minutes. We'll get through it. We'll build a little bit of confidence. We get the crowd back on side, and then we might start playing a little bit of football. And by the way, what I'm saying, it is not rocket science. This is something I was getting taught when I was 5 or 6 years of age. It's a game of football. It frustrates me watching. It's not just Tottenham, but especially Tottenham this season, how players don't understand how a game changes and how you have to alter the way you play to suit it.
And the other factor in all that is it's not just the goalkeeper, because he was also under a lot of pressure. You take the pressure, but there has to come a time when you go, OK, to Porro or to Jed Spence, actually, let's just stay calm here. We don't need you coming into areas. Let's just keep us at a nice back four, because we are in a really nice position, but this game can really quickly turn on us. And I don't understand why the manager, who stood by Porro, doesn't say to him, just stay where you are. We will get chances as this game goes on. They were just committing football suicide.
Especially when Porro's on his side.
Absolutely.
In the
I get you. That's your coaching, and he said that's how we play. I totally get that, but there has to come a time when you use your football intelligence. This is that 3-2.
Yeah.
You know, and then this is where he makes a save. No, he does not one with his legs, but this is Mazraoui could score. But it was just like, it was chaotic, and it's great for us to watch, and I'm sure football fans all around the country are loving it, but you're not going to have success if you carry on like this. You know, Son gets caught in his own. You know, that's difficult because he just gets under his feet. This is a save with his legs.
I actually think that is brilliant goalkeeping, you know, because that ball comes at him so quickly, and he's a big man. He can't get his hands down, and it's so central. It's not to the side of him. So I thought he actually dealt with that brilliantly.
It's brilliant, though.
Brilliant.
I mean, just in the chaos of that 10 minutes, it fitted in perfect. I mean, it is a brilliant save, as you say.
No, honestly,
but it just fits into it.
Listen, we all burst out laughing, and I think Gary was laughing on commentary. But listen, I don't know what the goalkeeping coaches out there would say, but he's such a big man. There's no way he could have got his hand down that quickly. So I think he actually dealt with it really well.
And especially because of the other two.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, Manchester United had their own goalkeeping issues, really, in this game. Do you see anything wrong with Tottenham's
Yeah, well, we disagree with it a little bit in here. Jamie, I think nowadays, with with keepers now protected they are, I think Bergvall just gets his arm. It's not the arm that he's going to punch you, but I just think it doesn't really matter. I just think he fouls him, he impedes him. You can just see him here. He gets his right arm. Bergvall just pulls him down a bit. It's not a great deal, but this is a better angle to see it now.
I think he's actually going for... I don't think he's trying to impede him. I think he's actually trying to just go and head the ball. His arm has come up a little bit. If it had been the arm that he was punching with, I'd maybe have a lot more sympathy with him. But, I mean, I wouldn't be happy if has there been a worse performance from two goalkeepers in the same game ever? I mean, they were both really poor.
And this is Fraser Forster's. Really? Understandable.
I will say, Fraser... With his feet, he's 8 saves in this period. There's been other games when he's been brilliant, and it's not been easy for him. You know, and he'll be feeling like, on the floor. But Spurs have to just, stop putting him in this situation.
But that's the whole point that you're saying. Just adapt to your goalkeeper's
strength. He's never been known for that, being good with his feet.
That's never going to happen.
But they've got Liverpool Liverpool will be watching at the weekend, and if they start playing out from the back like that, you can imagine Salah or Jota or whoever's playing up front, they'll be just waiting to pass.
You see tonight why it's so stressful?
Yeah, look, it was obviously we made it harder than it should have been, for sure. Rolling control and played really well. We looked like we were going to manage the game, and then obviously 2 moments of unfortunate. I mean, I think the first one kind of affected Fraser for a little bit, and then the second one sort of came as a result of that. So, and then we had to scramble a little bit. Showed some character at the end. Got a fourth and through the semi.
What did you like about the early part of the match, and probably actually the start of the second half, mostly where you completely took control of the game?
I like the whole bit, mate. Are you not entertained?
We are very entertained.
There you go. What do you want? Do you want a scrambling 1-0? I know both centre halves, left backs, got kids on the bench, and yet, these boys are maintaining their principles about trying to play the football we want to be. And I think if we get through this period and I just think we're going to get enormous growth out of it. I really like the way we played tonight. I mean, obviously, those 2 moments kind of taint the sort of overall. And it's something that's happened this year before. And obviously, it doesn't help us in sort of gaining traction in terms of our consistency. But in terms of the mentality of the boys, mate, I love it.
You're right about the studio meltdown, by the way. but part of it is, on a sort of the nice thing that's being said, is you're the most entertaining team in the league. Does that mean a lot to you?
Well, it does to me, yeah, because I love football and I love watching teams that go out there and entertain. Now, obviously we want to be successful as well, and we won't be if we, make things difficult like for ourselves like we did tonight. But you balance that up with the situation we're in right now. 10 first-team players out. I keep saying it, and I don't think it's registered with people, but that's okay. And we're not going out there and trying to grind out 1-0 victories. We're keeping all your folks entertained. We're creating plenty of discussion, and I can't see how that's a bad thing.
It's definitely not a bad thing. But from your point of view, you would have liked your team surely to manage it differently from 3-0. After 3-1, is there anything you do different? Would you ever say to your team, look, go direct, sit in a block for a bit, don't put Fraser under pressure with another pass back?
But, I mean, you're sort of suggesting that I ask the players to kind of, in those moments make those mistakes, and I don't. And we had solutions out there where we didn't have to do that. That's that's part of football. Individuals will at times make those mistakes, but from the context of how we want to play as a team, no, there's nothing we need to change. I'll be very happy if we keep scoring 4 goals and 5 goals a game if we're winning. Obviously, we want to win. We don't want to not be winning, but for me, that's it's still the most important thing, and I get it. It doesn't get me any credit in the bank as a astute tactician, but so be it.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess your quibble would be with your players.
Moments he could have handled it a lot better, but for me to just focus on that and discount the football we're still playing with the players, who are 18-year-olds, guys who haven't played for quite a while, guys in their first year of the Premier League. That's still the bit I kind of focus on.
But when you're talking about as well being questioned as an astute tactician or otherwise, I mean, you will go through that with your players, presumably, the whole thing, but the last 20 minutes, half an hour in and amongst that.
Yeah, of course, we review everything, but you don't, you look at it, what solutions there were out there, could we have made better decisions for sure. But that's not going to eliminate human error in it either. That's part of football. It's part of life. So, like I said, there'll be, depending on how you want to look at a game of football, there'll be guys who'll be focusing on those 2 mistakes, and others will be going, it's not a bad side.
Quarter-final of the Cup, Manchester United knocked out under lights in front of a full Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Not so bad.
I don't think so, mate. No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ange.
Manchester United fell to a 4-3 defeat away at Tottenham Hotspur in the Carabao Cup on Thursday night. While Man United launched an impressive attacking display after going 3-0 down, rookie mistakes at the back allowed a subpar home side to find the back of the net on 4 occasions, undoing all of United's hard work in front of goal. It was an energetic start to the match for both teams. The hosts almost found an early breakthrough through a dangerous pass into a box that Christian Eriksen did well to cut out. Leinari Euro also showed great awareness, slide tackling Jed Spence on the left flank before the Spurs attacker could create a goal-scoring opportunity from within the box. United won their first corner 10 minutes in, however. Eriksen's threatening cross was well handled by an alert Spurs defence. 2 minutes later, Rasmus Højlund received a pass from Bruno Fernandes, but he was unable to keep control of the ball and unleash a shot under pressure from the hosts' defence. In the 15th minute, disaster struck. Pedro Porro took a thunderous long-range shot that goalkeeper Altay Bayındır struggled to parry. While United's defence remained static, Dominic Solanke showed the awareness to pounce on the rebound, slotting the ball into the bottom corner past a hopeless Bayındır. 22 minutes in, United were on the attack. Diogo Dalot picked out Eriksen in the box, whose clean snapshot was saved by Fraser Foster. Nasser Mazraoui received a yellow card as a result of his sliding tackle on Spence. He would need to avoid any further controversy to prevent United from going down to 10 men. Antony got on the end of a promising cross, however his volley was blocked by Archie Gray. It was better from United, with Ruben Amorim's men appearing to up the pressure in the hosts' final third. Past the half-hour mark, Dejan Kulusevski played a pass into the box that came inches away from the goal line. Manuel Ugarte came to the rescue, clearing the ball out for a corner. 6 minutes later, Fernandes took a long-range shot that veered wide of the far post, almost catching the keeper by surprise. Euro directed a slick long ball toward Fernandes, with Højlund pouncing on the defender's header. The Dane directed his volley wide of the post. On the stroke of half-time, Victor Lindelof slumped to the ground in discomfort. Upon inspection by the medical staff, it appeared as if he suffered an injury relapse. Johnny Evans replaced him with 2 minutes of stoppage time to go. Seconds before the break, in a repeat of his previous movement, Dalot played another ball to Eriksen, whose shot was blocked yet again. The referee blew the whistle for half-time, bringing an end to a frustrating match so far for United. Amorim's men surely would have felt that they should not have been behind, given their performance so far. Although United may not have been at their best, Spurs were far from impressive, doing little to threaten the United defence. With the right tactical changes during the break, Amorim would have surely had the ability to change the course of the game in search of a comeback victory. It was a nightmare start to the second half for United as Kulusevski doubled the home side's lead. While Lisandro Martinez did well to block the incoming cross, the loose ball fell to Kulusevski, who was completely unmarked. A shambolic defensive display by United, with 5 players in close proximity to the unmarked goalscorer, just meters out from the goal. Things went from bad to worse in the 54th minute. Solanke beat the offside trap, dribbling past both Martinez and Evans and slotting his shot into the bottom left corner. 3-0 to Spurs in what was quickly becoming a night to forget for Amorim.